Welcome to today's reading. We are going to be using the Eternal Crystals Oracle cards and the Mystic Mondays Tarot deck to look at our current financial standing and to see what we're currently doing, maybe what we're even saying, believing about money, finances, resources, and then look at if there's any room for improvement or evolving our thoughts around it so that we can improve the money flow, we can improve the receptivity, so that maybe we can stabilize anything that feels destabilizing right now when it comes to our finances. So with that being said, let's go ahead and hop right into our oracle cards. And we start off with rose quartz 34, that narrows down to a 7. And then we have love and heart chakra. Now that's paired with blue lace agate, number 6, communication, and throat chakra. Now first, right off the bat, that 7, going from a 7 to a 6, I automatically feel like, yeah, you see, like for me, 7 can like mean like strategy. It has for years, especially during readings, like strategy. But then going down to that 6 is like we're going from strategy to like just functioning in a balanced way, right? And it's interesting that it's about communication, the throat chakra. So we're in this region today. Okay, we're working with this region. Any blockages around these brain centers, okay? So with rose quartz and heart chakra, it's reminding us that love can equal receiving, okay? And if we don't feel that we are loved, and that can be not just in personal relationships, but depending on what demographic you feel connected to. You may not feel like in a certain area of your life that you're focused on, there's not enough receptivity. There's not enough equal engagement. There's not enough of feeling worthy. And if we don't feel worthy of being given to, then you think you have to like earn your love. So then you have to earn the right to receive. If love equals receiving, right? You would have to earn the right to receive. Yikes. Well, then what can that also talk about regarding fears in love and communication and then our money, right? If you fear communicating about your value, your worth, it's a very good chance you fear that fear of rejection can manifest as you believing that if you belong, then that means you're loved. So love equals belonging. And if it also means receiving, if you're feeling unloved, you're not feeling like you belong. So if you don't feel like you belong, that's actually a very, very anchoring, heavy vibration. And it's really hard for, that stable money that you're desiring now to find you down there, because that's not a natural place, that it's not a natural vibration to receive from. The thing is that we are creating and we are still like receiving our environment, receiving like their daily manifestations. But when we're trying to receive something more greater than us, that means, instead of looking at things linearly, we got to go vertically. So we've got to figure out what's causing that heaviness, what's anchoring us to a system of beliefs regarding like love and receiving, and therefore our money, our access to resources. So many of you don't communicate about your value because you think if you do, you're gonna lose if you ask for what you know you're worth. Maybe one time you did try to set a standard, and I'm gonna use this communication trauma unfolded for you. And ever since that expression got stunted, or you created a narrative fear around it, money is also equivalent to your form of expression. So again, you may avoid now asserting your value, negotiating. You may even avoid being visible, especially in consistent ways. I know I'm connecting with people who have done a lot of things in the background. So if I'm talking to like those who are natural caretakers, but if you're struggling with money, there's some sense of, okay, caretaking is now over giving. So this is caretaker, like over functioning, that can affect your finances and even how you communicate, how you feel about receiving, because it's like, if love equals over functioning, over giving, then that means if I start setting a boundary, a price, if I start setting a value, then that means I'm selfish. That means I'm unloving. That means I'm greedy. That means I was never good. That means, you see, that means something negative. That means something that would go against the image I've worked so hard to build. And there's some sense of betrayal, I feel, that we would be engaging with, that a story of betrayal, if we let go of the version of us who stopped being as giving as we've been conditioned to survive. Okay? All of that can create, I mean, this is about communication and receptivity, right? No wonder there's like money tension. And especially if you're allowing yourself to be like invisible at times, it could be a lot of unspoken money tension. Now, of course, that can start in like the family unit, how you were raised, because what if money was talked about in stressful ways? What if money was talked about in, like, you have to earn, like, in order for you to have this much money, you have to be like, you have to earn money. You have to work very hard, is what I mean. You have to work very hard in order to earn money. Or maybe you inherited being silent about finances because you're supposed to be secretive. You can't talk about money. Those can create so many different blocks. And we can even feel shameful when it comes to receiving. So love can also feel shameful, which means that our relationships are going to reflect how we feel about ourselves. And so will the way resources come to us. At least the channel, it'll affect the channel, okay? Here and there. So with that, let's go ahead and move into the tarot. In this first position, I asked, how are we currently receiving our money? Okay, how are we currently receiving resources in our flow? And it starts off with the Wheel of Fortune, followed by the Magician, and the Chariot came out sideways. So I kept it like that. And the Chariot is going outward, not this way, this way. So these three, I mean, they're all major arcanas, first of all. Okay? We've been doing this for a long time. That's what I get from that. And when it comes time to show up, we perform well. We make ourselves available. Because I feel like the Wheel of Fortune is also alluding to schedule. Okay? But I feel like this is, wow, it's like, these are like sources of income that are scheduled or that are dependent on timing. And it's not that consistent. If there is consistency, it's probably something like, it depends on like if you do like event work, catering, seasonal work, agricultural work. That's more predictable. Even like just gig-based work and creative work, those can be predictable in some sense, but it's still dependent on so many external factors. Because say that you are participating in a theater play, right? What if something happens to the building? What if something happens to like the production like team? Like do you see what I mean? Like what happens? Like there's so many external, like you're not guaranteed to even perform on at the time that you planned, and that could actually like throw things off. Same thing with gig-based work. This is what I'm feeling here. Gig-based work, or work that is on demand. So what can that look like? I mean, the Chariot here, like rideshare, delivery apps, task-based apps, like Fiverr, or like TaskRabbit. Freelancing, gig based, you can be freelancing. I mean, this could be food trucks, right? This could also be cleaning services, caregiving services, where you go to. I mean, the medical field can be like very strong here. Even if you're in the technical field, some form of IT or like on demand, even if it's not in your job description to be responding or this type of first responder, that may be the work that you're doing right now. That may be the majority of the task is like fixing. For example, my 9 to 5, I work in IT. And as of right now, there's times when we're trying to put out a build where we have to go through bugs, right? So there's like a season of us going through bug enhancements. It can be work like that, okay? What else this can be is, the Chariot, sometimes, like, it's being sideways. I wonder if, like, say, like, you do deliveries. Maybe something with your mode of transportation, there's some inconsistency there, or maybe now there's some maintenance that is drawing your attention, but you see, it requires either coughing up some money or asking for help. Meanwhile, we saw that there may have been some major money blocks around communication and some shame around money. So asking for help, okay. You likely will do it when it's like the pressure is unbearable. Am I resonating with some of y'all? Okay. So if we are having issues with our mode of transportation, even if it comes to like when it comes to calculating costs and being like financially reciprocating, like maybe we're noticing that costs are being cut here and there, or that things are not even being available as much anymore. There's tipping services that can be with delivery services as well. You might notice like a change around tipping culture that is affecting your pockets. Maybe there's even like legislation or laws that are affecting how like the money is. This could even be it's talked about seasonal, right? Taxes, how we're being taxed, how that normally works. Some of us may even avoid certain work because of how it's taxed. This could also mean under the table. Let's talk about if this platform, let's say it's like a website or something, or a social media platform. Let's say this is about entrepreneurship. I could say that. This could be talking about like e-commerce, drop shipping, digital products, print on demand. You can do event planning there, coaching, or even offering courses. That's one way. I mean, this could also be talking about, if it, like those can also allude to like side hustles, especially with entrepreneurs having multiple things going on at once. It could be side hustles. But I wonder if any of you are having like a change of heart about how much you're handling, because this could be like a spinning plate. And you're realizing when it comes to your energy levels and how you want to communicate and the resources you currently have, you're including your energy as a resource. So I wonder if many of you are actually choosing to adjust your availability. This could, so maybe a hybrid workplace. Sometimes I'm there, sometimes I'm not. This could even be like ghost kitchens, pop-ups. I did mention like food trucks, right? If we want to lean into, because entrepreneurship and stock trading can relate as well. So, and then again in the digital space, like crypto is an obvious one, but like stock trading and options, day trading, maybe a way, or just general monitoring of money. Some of you may also be realizing that we can't live off of an inheritance or some sort of win forever. There's something around like retirement plans, 401 IRA, Roth IRAs, all that stuff. You could be looking very carefully at it right now, or even thinking about getting a job that has those options for you. Holidays, go back to seasonal holidays, seasonal retail, agricultural work, even festivals feel important here as well. And any commission based work, be it like insurance, real estate, or like retail or service jobs, there's something that is shifting for you, and it doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad shift, but it's brought to your attention. This could be like a listserv email that's given out to everybody. You might be noticing, you might even be noticing that your skill and expertise is even more necessary. But when it comes down to negotiating how you're going to get there, or how you are going to show up, or if you're even going to show up according to the schedule that they desire from you, you might be going back and forth with that. It is possible that whatever opportunity you're looking at requires for you to uproot yourself and relocate. It requires movement on your part. I'm also going to add this here. If you are moving towards a position, or you go towards work that you don't like, you don't feel good about, I want you to listen to what you're saying about it. Because I want you to listen to what you're saying, how you're feeling. Those two are in accordance. And then I want you to ask, what vibration am I in right now? What can I name this vibration? And does that vibration match how I want to experience receiving money? Okay, that's what I want you to do. Now, with that being said, let's go ahead and move into the final position, where I asked, what can we do to open up our receptivity? What can we do to improve our financial standing? Okay, if necessary. First card we got was the Five of Wands, followed by the Emperor. Okay, and then the Queen of Pentacles. Immediately I get, please, like, put yourself out there anyway. Like, kind of like with that last question I asked in the other position of what you're currently doing. It's just like, yeah, like, assess. Ask yourself, does this match the identity of me that would be financially stable, that would feel secure? Because that Emperor does not like to be bothered, okay? That Emperor does not want to be moved. That Emperor does not want to have to deal with any disorder. Right? These two actually pair really well together right now, because my Queen of Pentacles, she's my planner. She loves to plan, right? But she's also that feminine. So I value rest. So this would be a very appropriate energy to pair with. So it's possible that this Five of Wands is saying, this is not just about you asserting yourself in naturally competitive environments, or in spaces where there's like chaos, like traffic, or it's online space or social media, right? Or even like competitive work organizations, right? It's not even just about that, because those are going to be there. It's just how, it's like, can you stand firm? Because this is the only major arcana here. Can you stand firm in your identity? Can you always recognize when you are, associating your observation through that identity or not? Whenever chaos naturally shows up, what are you calling it? Is chaos a problem, or is it operating as a revealing source? Because that's what chaos can also be. It is a revealer. It is a revealer. It doesn't have to define. You see, the Emperor, that identity, that Aries energy, that, oh, honey, I know who I am. I know who I am. In order for you to maintain that, you do have to have a balance. You do have to have a balance. But do you see the Emperor is also quite a fixed energy? Not in the sense of like Aries being our cardinal that gets things started. It's like once you get something started though, can you be consistent? Because what you're asking for is a different kind of consistency. But what did we pick up immediately? Whether it's consistent or not, it still has this air of inconsistency where you're dependent on an external. The Emperor doesn't do that. They start inward. They're like, oh, no. I know who I am. Please. No. I'm not going to overfunction. In fact, if there's somebody out there who actually likes doing this work, such as planning, they like being the person who is maybe an assistive force in this narrative, then I'm going to actually work with them. And there it comes right back to this. What can we do? We can open up our communication channels. We can have different resources, different connections that we talk to about how to rest. In fact, this could be talking about creating the appropriate ritual for the appropriate moment. So even micro rituals, these little techniques or these tools that you have to remind you that being still, being in a more consistent position, and knowing what you want is perfectly fine. Now, with me talking about how a lot of stuff was external, that meant like provocation had to come from the outside. In this, it's asking for you to not wait for external motivation. You don't have to wait for external motivation, okay? And use assistance. Use assistance where it's offered. Use this identity. I'm looking at the cards here. Use this identity to like, use it to your advantage. But also, dictation is important. So taking note. So this could be talking about like creating an emotional journal so that you can see how am I reacting to money? What am I saying about it every day, like in my environment? How am I reacting to work that comes towards me? What am I saying? What am I feeling? Tracking that. And then creating order out of that so you can internally organize. But doing it in a way that is not guilting, shaming, silencing. Doing it in a way that is nurturing. There will be time to be like, the Emperor can embody many different personality types, like such as a rebel who can be like a maverick, right? Such as a challenger, a technician, even a nurturer. Maybe it's saying the type of identity, the type of emperor that you can be for yourself right now is the nurturing type, okay? And that's the type that's gonna pause before they make a decision, pause before they react. They're gonna make space for that. They're gonna pause, even if the situation is pissing them off. They're gonna, what would I do? You see, this is self-consultation, and where you get the assistance. So for some, this is saying the way that we can open up our flow, our channel of receptivity, is to love ourselves by letting other people see that we need help. So even asking for help, not staying silent, understanding that the identity that's financially secure would be talking about money, be it to an accountant, a CPA. Okay, you would be talking about money. You would also, and here's the next part, disconnect from relationships that use chaos to source instead of chaos to reveal, like you're doing right now. And chaos is like, there's always going to be this, that, the schedules, people, that seasonal work, the different forms of making money, those are going to be there. But if you're looking for something that consistently flows, and there's nothing wrong with that. And I'm going to go back to that identity betrayal that I may have mentioned, that I've mentioned before. Like, I don't want to betray the version of me who has worked so hard to survive. If I now become the person who is like attached to a 9-to-5, if I become the person who is attached to a more corporate environment, I feel like I would be betraying the version of me who went through it, who made it. Truth is, you're not doing that. You don't have to see it as doing that, you know. This is about having an identity that knows their non-negotiables. Having an identity that says, I respond yes to this and no to that without a problem. Because if I know my value, I know what I don't want to interact with, right? And so this goes into our relationships. And I feel like if you're in relationships that like make your nervous system like tick, take note of that, because right now I'm connecting with people who want to be in relationships where your nervous system is calmed. In fact, let me say something about like anxiety that could be coming from here, and like platforming yourself, making yourself more visible instead of invisible, right? In such performative spaces. Anxiety is, you can see it as the part of you that's saying, we've never done this before, so just go slow. Doesn't mean stop, right? Especially in this context, it's like, doesn't mean stop. It just means we've just not done this. Please just slow down, right? And being around people who understand that, who can practice that, that's important. Because if they can receive you in that way, they can receive you as you are, they can receive your emotions. Not only do you feel seen, but you also feel loved. Because you're being allowed the space to just exist as is. Accepted as is, not being asked to change what you're going through in the moment. Like, you are the moment. And there are so many connections like that. And in fact, what this could be showing here is that in order for you to receive more resources and improve your financial standing, get that security, know those types of relationships, the relationships that provoke your nervous system to go into overdrive versus the ones that ask you, it's okay, just be here. Okay. Making time, my scheduler, making time for you. Your time is valuable, right? I mean, it's the resource here in this linear space that we have. And it's like, it's valuable. And being in those relationships that respect that let you love yourself by letting yourself express, that is a relationship that promotes a worthiness to receive all the time. Whereas like, no, you gotta compete, you gotta perform in order to be of value here. Yet you're in the middle, you know your identity. So you know your non-negotiables. You know that honest communication and reciprocity is really important for you. And I like that you're the Emperor here, because with this being the Queen of Pentacles, it's not to say they're not a powerful person, but in this relationship, you don't lose yourself. Like, your identity is so strong that you don't lose yourself in this. You see what I mean? Okay, I intend that you understand that. And then when we're in these relationships that are more open and receptive and softer, more nurturing, then we can actually take more financial risks. Ones that are in alignment with where we want to be. The financial risk could be launching the website, launching the social, starting the damn business. That could be the financial risk, honestly. What else do we have going on here? Actually, even telling somebody that you're having, like, so talking to a financial professional who is certified and experienced in helping you organize your finances. Organize, maybe this could even be debt consultation. Okay? Debt consultation that's going on here, and you are searching through maybe a web of options right now as to who you can talk to, but who will be best for you. There will be a feeling. It's not you will gravitate, you will resonate with their energy. And I encourage you to not question it, but to follow that inspiration. Because following your inspiration is also receiving on demand. It's receiving yourself, receiving your desires, receiving the manifestation on demand. And the more you allow yourself to act on that inspiration, the more you get out of your way. Your blocks are just like, Okay, that came up, but I know that how to feel more inspired in a consistent base. So consistency is coming up here again. Unaligned versus aligned partnerships. Even if you can't totally afford it, it's okay. Just talk about what's going on here. But it's important that you are connecting with relationships where you feel seen, you feel supported, and in fact, you share values. The Emperor has very strong values, like I said, the non-negotiables. Sharing those non-negotiables in these aligned partnerships are going to be really important right now, if you, again, to open up that channel. So that means even the way we talk about money, the way we talk about a situation, the way we communicate and reciprocate. I'm going to say right here, knowing your healthy relationships is the first step to increasing your money flow. If that is what you desire to do, that is going to be the first step. Knowing your healthy connections, be it with people, places, and things. I start identifying what is working. Start identifying what creates order in your life that actually produces positive results. And by positive, that's your definition. But these healthy connections, that's how we can currently unblock anything that is standing in the way of us receiving more resources, us even having the time and the space to even recharge and regenerate. That is just as important. And again, many of you know what it's like to have to pause. You know what it's like to have to like adapt and wait. You know what it's like to go through that. But right now is asking you to, similar to like yesterday's reading, be aware of what wants you to relax. Be aware of the space outside of that triangle. Be aware of your harmonious connections, the ones that want you to feel good, that want you to feel seen. And in fact, the Queen of Pentacles also really likes to celebrate. They love a good party, right? So it's like, connect with the people who do make space for you, even if you have to pay them to make space for you. That's what they're there for, okay? And if you have to pay someone to make space for you, even when it comes to dealing with love, when it comes to money, because there's so many unpredictables. Listen, there's so many different ways that you can actually receive money. There's so many different ways that you can also feel about your money. And I want you to feel good about how you use your money, right? And like, for instance, one way to make money is through like readings, you know, using your intuition, using your psychic ability. Another way is through grants. Another way is through settlements. Okay, I wonder if anybody, did we get in an accident? Okay, if we've been waiting for a settlement, there might be some coming in, okay? But as soon as it does, you maybe like it's like a lottery win. I mean, the most obvious thing would be like a lottery win, right? Maybe you do plan on winning, or you have won some money inheritance, and you're doing your best to make sure you're connecting with people, or you're hiring people who can help make sure that people who don't need access to you or your resources don't get access to you or your resources, right? Okay, so if you're winning money, inheriting money, like doing readings, winning contests, scholarships, grants, like I said, the wheels talk about winning, like winning, losing, gaining, loss, broadcasting, and silence. If you are going to be renewing your communication skills with your finances, your resources, silence will be appropriate at times. But notice when you're being quiet, when you want to speak up. That's the key. And then check the relationships that require you to shut the fuck up in order to be with them, to stay in this place, in order to belong. Check where you are received, okay? Just right now, in your current life, right where you stand right now, because we're operating in the now moment. We don't need to go anywhere. Right now, What receives me with open arms? And if we feel like, oh, we don't have anything, pause, take a breath, and ask again. Okay? And get very literal. Trust me, that's how much we're recreating all of this. So with that being said, I thank you so much for joining me. I intend that this reading was helpful. I know it was loaded with a lot, but sometimes when it comes to these type of financial readings, a lot be coming out. So I intend that it was helpful. I hope that you felt seen, especially for an extended period of time, and that your situation, your current situation, I don't want you to carry the burden of shame, but I want you to feel like it's something that you can manage, something that is changeable, okay? Something that is changeable, right? Because it's true, it is changeable. But embodying the identity of, these are my non-negotiables, and these are the relationships that allow me to be this way, which receive me this way, that's going to be vital right now. If your plan is to open up your financial and resourceful channels so that you can consistently receive more and feel more, especially financially secure. All right? So I love you very much. Thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate you. As always, please do your best to keep the faith. And until next time, bye-bye.